I'm in a very snowy Haworth. It's beautiful, but it's cold. Anyway, a few weeks ago I did a post on my socials about how did the Brontes cope in this sort of weather and mud and rain, wandering over the moors with long skirts, petticoats, leather boots, but leather with no real high tech to them, and stockings and things like that. And quite a few of you said, yeah, I thought about that too. So in my stupid brain, I decided to try it out. So, just for you, I must be mad, I have made myself a Victorian petticoat, and I have a very long skirt that I bought from the charity shop, and a pair of leather boots, and a pair of Victorian style over the knee stockings. The original plan was to go wandering up to the Brontë waterfalls, but obviously in this weather I don't want to be the one person that gets stuck on the moors and have to be rescued by a helicopter or something. So instead the plans have changed slightly, and I'm going to walk around Haworth in my long skirt, petticoat and stockings, and to be honest, as I found out, unsuitable footwear, just to see how they did and how muddy they got and how wet they got. So this morning I am sporting my outfit, of course, leather gloves, wool hat, don't have a cape or a wrap, so we've gone for the wool coat and, like I said, long skirt, etc. So follow me around Haworth as I get extremely cold, probably, and extremely wet. And I will talk to you as I go around and explain a bit more about how the Brontes wore these garments and how they would have coped in this sort of weather. So yeah, let's go and explore Haworth. One thing I do have to say, the noise of snow is wonderful. It reminds me of childhood, running around getting absolutely soaked. So let's do a listen. Ready? Okay, that was really rubbish. I couldn't do camera and microphone. The snow's obviously gone to my head. Hello. So I've just taken a few laps around the parson's field behind the parsonage. As you can see behind me, it's settling, and it would just be ridiculous to go marching across the moor, so definitely going to stay local. Okay, review on where I am. The biggest thing I'm finding is I am slipping and sliding everywhere. I purposely chose a pair of boots that don't have a very good sole, quite worn, because obviously the Brontes would have had leather boots with leather soles. I know they probably would have worn patterns, but even so, not a huge amount of grip compared to modern day wellies and walking boots. And I'm just finding on the snow, I am just sliding everywhere, which is quite funny, but I could imagine, when you've got a corset on, not that I have, but if you're wearing a corset in all your layers and your petticoats, the last thing you want to do is take a tumble. So here I am, still in the snow, outside the Brontë Parsonage, and it's looking beautiful. And I'm actually finding I'm quite warm. I was worried I was going to get absolutely frozen. But one thing I find is that having a long skirt on almost creates a tent, and it keeps your legs warm. So, I'm doing okay. Slippery, everything's slippery, cobbles are slippery, mud, everything. You just feel like you're forever being a Bambi with your legs going everywhere. But I'm not doing too bad. My hands are cold, my face is cold, and the snow is really coming down now. So I think soon I'm going to have to leave Haworth before I'm stuck here, which not necessarily is a bad thing. Oh, it's on my face. So, but look at the parsonage, doesn't it look wonderful? I'll tell you a bit more about the clothes and what the Brontes would have worn during that time when I'm somewhere a bit warmer. But look, how beautiful. What do you do when you get cold from walking in a long skirt in a snowy Haworth? You stop for tea. And cake, I forgot to mention. So I'm sheltering for a little bit in the porch of the schoolroom. As you can see, there's a church there. In my experiment to see how I got on, after having a mooch around town, I went into the church and sat through a lunchtime service. And because obviously, you know, the sisters would have done that. And that is when I noticed how cold I suddenly felt. The dampness at the bottom of the skirt always seemed to travel up then. And as soon as it was beyond my boots and started touching my stockings, I felt cold. Also in the church, the whistles around those pews and the draft didn't help. And I felt really cold. And the other thing I noticed is when I actually sat up or stood up and left the pew, that there's like a little water ring around where I sat, with my skirt is obviously sat on the floor damp and it covered the floor. So yeah, that kind of didn't help. That made me feel cold. But anyway, the snow is really setting in now, as you can tell, so I've decided it's time to leave Haworth before I get snowed in, which isn't a bad thing, but you know, I have to get back to real life sooner or later. But as you can see with the lady, the dog, we're all giving it a go today. Alright, I'll catch up with you soon. Look at the snow. It's not so bad to drive in, but there's a lot